Hello everybody. In this video I just want to show you the difference between an older style roller skate plate, the action with the truck between the plate, and a newer plate called the Arius that has sort of a newer design that I like quite a bit. So first I'm just going to show you an older, the traditional design of a roller skate plate. Here you see I have the front assembly on, but I took the back off. And this here is called the kingpin, and that's what the wheels kind of rotate around the kingpin, back and forth. But then um, there's the kingpin with some cushions, and then I also have a pivot point that goes in the pivot cut. So this is the traditional kind of truck here, and how this assembles is you have to put some bushings or cushions. You have to put some, put on the kingpin there, and then you put this part around the kingpin, and you have to make sure this part goes into the pivot cup in this part of the plate, down like that, and then you put on this. This is a double action, which means there's a cushion on the top and bottom. There's also an older style single action where you just have one cushion that's above and not, but this is more common, this dual action right here. And then you put a nut on here, and then you can, the more you screw it down, it compresses these cushions, which makes it harder to rotate. Or some people have it, you can have it looser, and then that makes it easier to rotate. And you can get different cushions too, harder or softer, which will also affect your action. But this design, you're always, some of your weight is always on the cushions, and then it kind of rotates around the kingpin, but the action has to do with the pivot point and then also your cushions and everything here. So there's kind of these 2 points, and this kind of action, in my opinion, it's a little bit floaty, a little imprecise. Some people really fidget a lot with their action. Um, to get it how they want and whatever. So, and of course this isn't the most expensive plate. There are fancier ones with more adjusting points and all that stuff. But anyway, so the traditional axle and truck um, can be, I don't know, fidgety maybe. Not always, but it can be. So this here is this newer fancy Arius plate. See the brand, the little name there. Um, and I have it here on the front, and then I have the back off. And you can see here, this plate, rather than having a kingpin, it has just this hard, I don't know if it's a ballast or what you want to call it, but this is just all aluminum, just the straight aluminum here. And then you have the truck has an assembly with some cushions that press up between the truck and then the plate. And these cushions, when you turn, they squeeze the cushion directly from the truck against the plate. But when you're just up and down, when you're not turning, 100% of your weight is on that solid axle, and there's no cushions. The cushion only is for turning, um, which is kind of cool. So, and here's the axle off, and I'll show it a little more detail how you assemble it. So you take there's a slot here in the cushions, and this is a little older model, the Arius Red. There's a newer one called the Arius Platinum, which is a little different, but the principles are still the same, and the designs are pretty elegant. So make sure you have the cushion on there, and you can swap these cushions out for lighter or harder ones. Um, but the cushion goes in here, and you make sure that there's a slot in that plate it goes around, and then you put in this. Uh, it's it's not a kingpin, but it's kind of a similar function, but not really. But it's that's the point that um, the truck rotates around. So this truck, it really only rotates. It just I don't see. I have these kind of harder cushions because I'm not the lightest person, but it kind of rotates just this way, and it only rotates one way. It doesn't have this sort of double points, which makes it's really smooth, um, and it's just strong. So like when you're on that, just up and down, you have a solid connection to the ground. There's no cushions in your way at all. The cushions are just for turning, and which is great. It gives a great feel. It's a more efficient design, so you can get more power out of it. That does depend a bit on your cushions. Um, and so say if you're a speed skater, you're going to want probably hard cushions. That'll give you the most power. But anyone who's more interested in quick turning or agility, artistic skaters, roller derby, um, or like jam skaters, they might want the lighter cushions to give them more of that kind of quick movement. And then some people just have their own preferences. Some people like really hard, some people like really soft, and you just kind of find out what works for you. Um, I actually have a softer cushion, one um, three softness points or whatever, urethane hardness points, softer up front than in the back. So when I do my crossovers, I have a little more stability, maybe a little more power from the back, and then in the front I have a little more quicker turn. Even though over time I've actually gone down, and in fact I'm going to switch these out again, and I'm probably going to go 1 degree lighter in the front and another in the back, because I'm looking for more agility, and especially um, with backwards motion and backwards blocking. I feel like I'm getting hung up by having a little too hard cushions back here. So anyway, oh, and just a comment on the difference between the newer Arius Platinum and this older Arius Red. I did mention the trucks. They call them winged. They come up a bit, so these have some little screws. The new ones don't have the screws. They have this wing and they're split, so you can even do more adjustments there. And of course, if you get the new truck, you can actually put those onto these plates too. But it adds up if you're getting a full set of trucks. And then the other big difference is, and this one I definitely want to mention, is the nose bridge right here is um, much thicker. I don't know if you can get a good shot of that, really. But anyway, maybe I'll get a picture of it later. Um, anyway, the nose bridge is much thicker, which my plates, my first set of plates actually cracked here. And I think that was for two reasons. One, they said the early batches were defective, or they had other people had problems. But the company was good enough to replace them for me for free, even though they're outside of warranty, so that was great. And then I got these newer boots, they're not really, they're newer to me, not really newer, but they have this carbon fiber sole, and it's almost like a tub for your foot, and it's really hard. And when you have the aluminum plate with the carbon fiber sole, they sort of reinforce each other and just give you a lot of real solid, just super solidness, which is great. So if I have all that weight up on this toe stop, rather than so much of the weight going just on the nose bridge, part of it probably is, the carbon fiber reinforces it and helps it get to the rest of the plate too. So anyway, I think these are great plates and a great design, and I will be using them for as long as I can think of, as long as they'll last. And when I replace them, I'll probably get the platinums or whatever's the new fancier version of these plates. All right, thanks everyone. Have a good night.